Dímelo, mi gente. Estamos aquí hablando español y vamos a cambiar al inglés ya mismo. Estamos con el hombre G from Jersey, or as I said,
Yes,
Georgie.
sir.
Yes, sir. We here. We live, baby. 9 o'clock. I'm gonna say thank you all to who are gonna tune in. I'm here with my boy G from Jersey. We're gonna talk football, talk about what's going on in the league. Week 2, we hype. You feel me? I got the crop top. I got the crop top. Feed me, Zeke. We vibing. Now we're here with my boy G. I appreciate it, G. Thank you for hopping on with me, man. I appreciate the love that the love and support. And man, let's get into it, man. What you think? What's going on? Hey, first of all, tell these people who you are, bro. Where they can find you at.
Hey, Steve, first and foremost, man, thank you for inviting me on to your platform, man. This is something that I've been, like little kids say, dreaming about for a while, man. Being able to jump on a show podcast with somebody that does it for a living, man. So, lifelong Cowboys fan. You know, my story, my sister, when I was little, early 90s, 91, 92, when the boys were hot, she was a Dallas Cowboy fan. I was 6 7 years old, and learning the game, and I had no choice because my siblings were Cowboys fan, and it was you gonna be a Cowboys fan, right? If you think
Yeah,
about it, at the time the San Francisco 49ers were good, right? The New York Giants, which is our local team out here in New York, New Jersey, they were coming off of a hell of a run. And we were the odd family in the projects where we grew up at because we were Cowboys fans. So I grew up following the Cowboys in the midst of that dynasty, 92 through 96, 97, where Michael Irvin, who's my favorite all-time Cowboy, because of his energy, right? Nate Newton up front. I got compared to him a lot when I was little because I was the chubby kid with all the swag up front. Of course, Troy, Emmitt Smith, Mr. Consistency, the defensive side, right? And it was something that has just been ingrained in me. We've been struggling, post that, but that's my background of how I became a Cowboy fan over here on the East Coast. I'm out here in Jersey, in enemy territory, amongst Eagle and Giants fans, but we hold it down, man. We walk with our head up and our chest out. On Twitter, you can find me at G from Jersey. We giving our opinion all day, every day, throughout the year, man. But Steve, man, I've been following you for a few years now, man. I just absolutely love your energy, your content. I complimented you the other day in our first phone conversation because you were able to capture some footage that is rarely put out there by content creators, by Cowboy staff, right? You got that Marshawn Nealon, his explosion, and the drill, right, when they were on the sled, and that video went viral for you because you saw this kid who we picked him up in the second round, and everybody was talking about how good he can be, but when you see him work at that level, and then we're going to get into it a little later as to who else was on the video and wasn't given that same kind of effort. And you got that film along with the film of Micah Parsons trying to RKO, Dak, right? And you have an eye for that stuff, man. So hell of a job and good luck to you, man.
yeah. Man, I'll tell you one thing, man. I live here in Allen, Texas, and I live about 10 minutes away from the Star. So it was really easy commute for me. I didn't think I was gonna get that kind of footage. Shout out to the Star We Are. They got me some access. Very good people. So if you guys haven't, go follow the Star We Are. Um, and man, I saw the D line on the sleds, and I'm like, hold up, let me get some footage and it's crazy because on camera they look explosive, but when you're there in person, it's a whole different speed. It's like the pixels on your camera doesn't get the actual speed of what's going on. And
Mhm.
that kid Marshawn, man, shout out to him. I got to meet him afterwards too. Very humble guy, down to earth. Doesn't seem all that big. Like doesn't seem like a really big dude, but he's play. You can tell he's got natural strength, right? And as a rookie, you see that, and you're like, that's wild because what like the potentials he has, he's gonna grow into his grown man body at some point, and with that kind of strength that he possesses now, it only like for me as a coach, I'd be like, man, we got one, we got a bull rusher, bro,
Yeah,
because what he does, he's explosive, he's
yeah.
strong. And I know he went up against the backup tackles in Cleveland, um, but he was winning those reps pretty easy. He wasn't doing too much. Um,
I put out a tweet earlier, man. I put out a tweet earlier, Steve, that I said, we just drafted DeMarcus Lawrence 2.0. And we're going to be facing a defensive end this week where I have visuals of Nealon and Cam Jordan, right?
Jordan,
like when you look at the
yep.
body, when you look at the body type, the explosion that they get off of the line, he mirrors what DeMarcus Lawrence has given the Cowboys for a decade plus, right? And
Yeah.
Cam Jordan, you don't see him as one of those lanky defensive ends. They're guys that are a little bit sturdier. And when I see Nealon in game action, I say, wow, he looks just like those guys out there.
Yeah. No, he's got a lot of similarities. He's wearing number 94, just like Cameron Jordan. And he's a dog,
and
bro.
don't forget D Ware. Don't forget D Ware.
Yeah, but we'll get there when we get there. I think that's a whole different level that we would love to see, right? And DeMarcus Lawrence also is a Cowboy legend. We like to see, we like what we find. We like what we have in this young bull and this young prospect.
Yes,
And I guess what he is, still a prospect, still going to develop. Learning from the best. He's going up against he's learning from players like DeMarcus Lawrence, learning from players like Micah Parsons. When it comes to how to bend, how to use your hands, how to manipulate the tackles. So, man, I like I said, only good things so far. And week by week, we're gonna know more about our team week by week. So, man, I'm trying to pull up some stuff here, trying to pull up some injury stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that going into what you just said week by week. Obviously, last week the defense was outstanding, right? The defense played a tremendous game against the Cleveland Browns. They were down their two defensive ends, but we were excited to see what the defense looked like under Coach Zimmer, and I think that we got what we were looking for, right, in game one, right? Shut them down when they're not at full strength up front. Don't give up, too many big plays. But what I was most impressed about is that we did not miss many tackles, right? You saw Jordan Lewis out there, absolute dog, man. He was, running through the wide receivers on screen plays and making those tackles. And obviously our linebacker core is better than what it's been over the last 4 or 5 years, if you want to be frank, right?
It's crazy because I think it was on Osho, Emmanuel Osho was talking about, the scheme between Dan Quinn and Mike Zimmer. That Dan Quinn ran a lot of cover 4, cover 3. And basically they had a debate on the show, The Facility, about, who's better, or not who's better, but like that we like talking about thinking that Cowboy fans is calling Dan Quinn a scrub as a DC, which is not the case. Is that last year we didn't appreciate the linebacker group or the linebacker position. And we know playing teams like San Francisco, they what's the heart and soul of that defense is the two linebackers. They got their strong side strong side linebacker, and they got their green dot, and that's who controls that's who's out there controlling the field. So and we got teams like let's see, who's the other team with a strong linebacker core? I mean, the Chiefs. The Chiefs have a strong linebacker core. Ravens last year had a strong linebacker core. So seeing these stuff, and maybe Dan Quinn would have had success with this personnel too. It's not. So it's really, we don't know. We know that Dan Quinn struggled against the Shanahan tree. We know, and we know that Mike Zimmer has had more success. Steven Stefanski, granted, they had Deshaun Watson, all that. I don't care. I don't want to hear all that. They had Deshaun
Mhm.
Watson. Deshaun Watson, people try to dogging him, but Deshaun Watson had no open targets. He had no one to throw
Yes, they
to.
were.
So
Yeah.
and that's more of
I,
a compliment to the defense than it is a knock to him. You feel me?
I want to add one thing though, and I think that this is potentially the biggest difference that we're going to see between what Coach Quinn did to what Coach Zimmer did. I think the biggest difference is the accountability on the guys that are on the field, right? I think Coach Quinn, the players had a little bit more leeway with what they wanted to do on the field. Too many of
Yeah,
those guys, right?
yeah,
We had guys, previous teams like Jaron Curse, blowing assignments back there. You had guys that were free ranging in coverage at times, right? We got a lot of interceptions, a lot of turnovers, right? But how much was free range? I think in this defense under Coach Zimmer, I think the guys know that they have to be accountable for their job. And if you
right.
do your job, the defense is going to be straight, right? The guys up front, they know that Micah's the guy. He's the superstar, right? Micah has free range, but the rest of you guys, you have to do your job. Hold up those linemen so that the linebackers can move around back there and make a play like Overshown made, right? Where everybody's like, whoa, right?
Yeah.
Kendricks has been playing in the Zimmer defense for 10 years now, right? He knows that if the defensive linemen do their job, he's going to be able to maneuver back there and make 120, 130 tackles a year. And I think that that's the biggest difference that the biggest difference that we're going to benefit from as Cowboys fans is that our players are finally going to be held accountable for doing their jobs on the field.
You know, it does seem like that, right? Because he's got more of an old school mentality. Excuse pardon my French, but a more of fuck you, do your job kind of mentality. We've seen it before. We've seen the videos. When he was with Cincinnati. When he was with the coach in Minnesota.
Mhm.
Um, he's a no bullshit guy, right? And Dan Quinn was more of a player's coach, right?
Yeah.
So now we did see a lot of lack of discipline. So let's go back to the 2021 wild card when we played the 49ers. Our defense was struggling with penalties, right? And that was our problem throughout those whole years that we had success with Dan Quinn is the
Yeah.
inconsistency of our team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even
Inconsistency with our
San
players
Francisco
and
last year, Green Bay last year,
yeah,
right? Like how many blown coverage in the playoff game? How? Like this is a defense that was top 5 all year. I'm talking about the Cowboys, right? And then you get into the playoff game, and all of a sudden we have blown coverages in the secondary. That rarely happened all year. Like, so something had to happen there. But you're seeing our guy, our star, Micah Parsons, in his interviews, he's saying literally, we have to do our job, right?
yeah,
Like, we signed guys, Linville Joseph. Listen to when Micah, they interviewed and asked him about Linville Joseph and about Jordan Phillips. He said one thing in both interviews in different ways. These are guys that are going to do their job up front, period, right? Because he knows we got 330-pound walls up there that are going to hold up blocks so that the
yeah.
linebackers can play,
What's crazy? If you go back to the preseason this year, I saw a big difference because preseason you don't got your starters out there, right?
No.
And in the preseason, we got that first game with the Rams where Stetson Bennett threw like 4 or 5 interceptions. But what's crazy that all the interceptions were schemed interceptions. All guys were in their spots at the right time, good timing, good continuity. When I saw that, I was like, hold up. And I mentioned that, like, we got something right here. I like it because you ain't asking for your players to do too much. You're the coach that's scheming success for your team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kalen Carson had opportunity to have 3 interceptions in his first game.
Yeah.
And what is that? He's like, we're gonna apply pressure. He's not gonna have time for double moves. Jump the ball. It ain't gonna be the case for everybody, but I know that I you know what? This game right here is gonna tell me a lot about my team. Are we the same old Cowboys gonna look past, being the favorites, or are we gonna be the Dallas Cowboys? Is when we have to beat these teams, we have to beat them, and I don't want to just beat them by turnovers, 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 turnovers. I want to demoralize the team by running the damn ball at a will when we want to do it, score when we want to score, and stop the ball, stop the run, do all that when we want to. That's what I want to be, a physical football team, and that's what I want to see. We saw a little bit of that against Cleveland. We were a more physical football team than they were, and that says a lot.
Yeah. I think that on the defensive side, right? You mentioned rookie Kalen Carson, man, and you can see that he is a more physical corner and that he wants to be in there, right, than what we've had in the past. I also want to go back a little bit and talk about another thing that we haven't really touched on with Coach Zimmer's defense. Pay attention to the guys that aren't playing, right? That have been on the Cowboys for a while. Pay attention to the guys that aren't starting.
Marquise Bell's he's not playing.
Not even that. We had a linebacker that was starting the last 2 years, right? Damone Clark.
He was playing Mike.
Right? All of a sudden, Damone Clark coming off of Dan Quinn starting back-to-back years, right? Now he's not starting anymore. Yeah. And I believe that Coach Zimmer is putting his footprint on how he wants everything to be on the Cowboys defense, right? He has to filter out the guys that don't fit his scheme. Damone Clark's going to play this year, right? Because linebacker, is a physical position. He's going to be on the field. But for what I was looking at, and when I saw it right away, I said, wait a minute. The two starting linebackers out there are Overshown and Kendricks. Where's Damone Clark? And it took a while for him to get on the field.
And that's the crazy part about it, is that he was our Mike linebacker last year. We were playing big nickel with Jaron Kearse playing in the box. We had Dono in the box. We had Marquise Bell in the box, like a 200. That's what I said. 200 personnel matters. People say, "Oh, the Cowboys fell off this year." Man, I don't know what you're watching, bro. Like, I don't know what y'all. They be watching too much ESPN. Most of those people don't know shit. Think about it. That's what I like about content creators, right? Because we actually study our team. When you're on ESPN, you're covering football, basketball, baseball, golf, all that, and you gotta have a general understanding of everything. You're not a specialist. I feel like content creators who sacrifice their time and time to study film, to study personnel, to study schemes are gonna give you a lot more insight. So when you out there and you don't, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, listen to the content creators. Don't listen to the 3-letter networks. Listen to us, because we know what we're talking about. We had Marquise Bell in the box. That's a problem, and he ain't playing this year. Tell me where we fell off. That's what I tell everybody. Where did we fall off? The only downfall we've had is that we lost Sam Williams so far. That's DeJuan Bland.
I went viral last year because I posted a video where I said, listen, Marquise Bell, I love him because he is doing what he's being asked, but he's not a middle linebacker. He's not a linebacker, period, is what I said in the video. And I had people just bombarding me over my head, throwing stats at me. He's leading tackles. I said, guys, that's just because he's in position to make those tackles, right? And he's a sound tackler, and he's a football player at the end of the day. He's a great kid, a good football player, and I think that he benefited off of that, and he's gonna show up in the safety position. I think we got two safeties, man, that aren't playing, and Wanye Thomas and Marquise Bell, that they can start. You know what I mean? I feel comfortable with throwing those two guys back there, but I think that what we asked guys to do last year, like a Marquise Bell, it put us in position to fail, right? Yeah. And as a fan, when you notice that, and when you watch the games, and you know what your team's liability is on defense, especially the run game, you say, wait a minute, what's it going to take for them to get some guys in here that can play that position where 210-pound Marquise Bell doesn't have to be in that position. And I asked the question the other day, like, did Dan Quinn sabotage us by maintaining that was good for the defense, right? Because it's like, we all knew it. You can tell that when we were going to play a running team like the Green Bay Packers or San Francisco, that's what was going to happen.
Yeah. No, you're right. And that was the problem, is that, where we saw a lot of success with Marquise Bell is when we were ahead of the game, right? So when you're ahead, for those who don't know, when you're ahead in a football game, teams are going to tend to pass the ball more. So that means you're going to be in a more nickel and dime situation. What happens when teams scored on us first? And it was running the ball, because we was a nickel and dime most of the game. We had no way to stop that. We don't have the personnel to shed blocks. So that was the problem with Green Bay. They came in. What did Green Bay do? They ran the damn ball. We had no personnel to stop that. You can't have Marquise Bell shedding blocks. You can't. It's too small, when it comes to physical football. And at the end of the day, what travels in football in the playoffs is running the damn ball and stopping the run. Right. And if you can't do either of those, then it's a recipe for disaster. So this year, we drafted Maurice Liufau. We brought Kendricks. He's already familiar with Mike Zimmer's defense. We picked up. We got Overshown back from last year from injury. He's come on, boy. Hey, oh yeah, my boy is a missile.
The cannon.
He's a missile.
The cannon.
We got a missile crisis in Dallas, bro. You feel me? We got a missile crisis in Dallas.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's but also, Steve, like, pay attention to like the depth of the positions that you're talking about now. We're in such better position this year at the middle, at the linebacker position, because the depth is there, right? Like, now you have Overshown and Kendrick starting, and that rotation could change, right? This week it could be, right? We don't know what Coach Zimmer is going to put out there. I think that you're going to see Micah Parsons in some certain plays at linebacker. You're gonna zoom in on your TV and be like, wait a minute, and it's because I think that the linebacker position, look at the depth. Kendricks, Overshown. We love what we see so far, right? But then behind him, you got Damone Clark, who just started for you for 2 years, who knows what it's like to get through an NFL game, right? And then you drafted the young boy, Maurice Liufau, right? Who everybody's excited about because he matches the speed of DeMarvion Overshown, right? And we saw that in the preseason. And you're just like, wow. Where I'm concerned about depth-wise is obviously up front. I think we have a big problem up front at the end position. And we'll get to it in a little while when we go over the Saints offense versus the Cowboy defense.
No, you hit it right on the nail, man. As of now, if we stay intact, I called in the beginning, and I'm not being a homer. People call me crazy. It's a 13-4. It's a 13-4 record. That's what I see for this year, and that's what everybody was saying. Nah. It's gonna be 10-7, 9-8, whatever it may be. I'm like, it's a 13-4 season, bro. I think y'all are just overlooking, or y'all are giving a lot of praise to teams that are not that good. So, like the Browns, we were supposed to lose that game, right? Why we won that one? Why are we gonna say it? We go 2-0 against the Saints? Then we talking, bro. That Ravens O line, and we'll get to them. We'll get to them when we get to them. But that Ravens O line is a little suspect. So, I mean, and we did see that they did have a little drop off, losing Patrick Queen, but that's neither here nor there.
We got to get to the Saints, man. We got to get to the Saints.
We got to get to the who dat. We got who dat. So
that's right,
man. Just real quick, just kind of go over the injuries. I don't know if you heard or if you know anything, but Marshawn Elam was limited in practice. So that I hope that it's not too serious, and I hope that he's there Sunday, because they probably got to call up Carl Lawson to talk about that. Bring up Carl Lawson, and that's what we're gonna see. How deep are we? And if we can't beat you that way, we got to find other ways to beat teams. So that's why week by week basis, and not looking at it. I don't look about the past. Past is the past now, man. What happened. We can't talk about Super Bowls yet. We got the Saints coming up. Let's see how our team is. I said by week 8, we know who we are. Week 9, we know who we are. We got an identity. Right now, we're still trying to find ourselves. So
Yeah,
yeah, man.
I think
Let's get into it.
yeah, I posted earlier on Twitter that with the kneeling injury, it's a calf strain, right? So that's one of those injuries, man, like a hamstring that if you don't let it, if you don't handle it the right way, it can linger on for a few weeks. And then at what point do you want to put a player out there if he's not at 100%? So you got Marshawn Kneeling who plays defensive end and you can move him inside and he needs the explosion from his lower half. That's his anchor, right? Because he's going to have those guards and those tackles leaning on him. So, in my opinion, the Cowboys have one of the, somebody called him an asshole earlier just because of the way he is, as far as I'm not putting that player out there. The trainer, Britt Brown, he's one of those guys that he's not putting guys out there unless he feels like they are game ready. And I love that philosophy because this is guys' health that you're dealing with. Certain guys, they can go out if they needed to play. But I think in this situation, I think you have a veteran like Carl Lawson, who at this point, he's been with the Cowboys or around the Cowboys for a month now, right? I think he didn't make the roster initially because he wasn't in shape. This is a guy who didn't play much last year with the Jets. He obviously didn't look explosive at all in the preseason game against the Chargers. But I think that 4 weeks in, he's had some time to practice, learn the scheme. And I think, unless Kneeling is at 90%, don't put him out there. Give him some rest so that, he can be good for that week 3, week 4 going into those games. Because you're going to need him. Yeah. We're thin at defensive end as it is due to Sam Williams.
And it's not a race, it's a marathon. So we gotta
win games. You gotta win.
You gotta win games. We gotta win games, but we gotta win games with sometimes we gotta use our depth pieces, Carl Lawson, he's built the team for about a month now. So that should be enough time to get up to speed with a lot of the schemes and all that. And as an edge rusher, I don't know what scheme is there other than, there might be a lot of read and react in the beginning. Or we're gonna go and just straight attack them. Go straight blitz packages.
You look at Carl Lawson though. Yeah, you look at Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson is a tank, dude. He looks like a transformer. Yeah. He's not gonna get you, double-digit sacks, right? He's got like 8 sacks, 4 sack seasons. I think Carl Lawson's game at this point is more in the run game. And to be out there on plays where you disguise and throw a Mike on his side as well, right? Or throw D-Law on his side as well, where he's gonna hold up that guard or that tackle, and Micah could go one-on-one, or D. Lawrence could go one-on-one on the other side. But I don't want to fall into the trap of the Arizona game last year, right? We all know that one game, they decided to sit absolutely everybody. And I said, wait a minute, you're going on the road, right? Arizona usually plays the Cowboys decent to good. And you're deciding to sit everybody. I said, that's a recipe for disaster. And I don't want that to be the mindset this year on the guys.
The difference was that week was weird, bro. Because Thursday we lose Trayvon Diggs, right? We man, what's going on? All right, hold on. All right. We lose Trayvon Diggs. And that the problem was, okay, when we beat the Giants, game 1 last year, granted, in the beginning of that first series, they was running the ball on us, bro. We couldn't stop the run. They, Wanya blocks the field goal, but we got ahead really quick, with Trayvon pop, Saquon, Deron Bland takes it home. At that point, it's nickel and dime the whole game. That's what we was good at. That's what we was bullies. But when it comes down to stopping runs, Arizona just ran the damn ball. They set the tone early with an RPO and old boy Dobbs takes it 50 yards. So we didn't have the personnel. We didn't have the linebacker group to be successful last year. That's the difference. But you know what's crazy? Last year we didn't have the success on the outside runs or the inside. I saw us attack the outside this year. I saw us attack the inside on the inner gaps, A gap, B gap, C gaps. what I want to see, because the Saints are gonna do a lot of this. They're gonna throw the ball. They're gonna run the ball on the outside to Kamara. They're gonna do a lot of motion, so it's gonna be a lot of signals, right? So we're gonna see, you know, we're gonna see a different kind of offense. Like I said, it's a Shanahan tree offense. For those who are just tuning in, Clint Kubik or Kubak, whatever his name is,
Kubiak,
he's a Kubiak. He's the son of Gary Kubiak, who played for Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan's dad, in the Broncos, for the Broncos when they won back-to-back Super Bowls. And he's got a lot of that West Coast tree. Derek Carr, he's doing that 5 to 7 step back, passes where he's stepping back 7, doing the West Coast count. And so they have a different scheme. They had success against the Panthers. The Panthers, not the Cowboys. Let's be fair. We're not no damn Panthers. So don't get too hyped up. So it's gonna come down to, are they gonna have the time to develop these plays? Shaheed is a deep threat. I'm a little worried about Kalen Carson when it comes to deep threats, because I don't think he's got a lot of giddy up speed. So we're gonna need a lot of safety help over there. So we're gonna see a lot of motions where they try to manipulate our safeties too to get guys open. But that outside edge is what I'm worried about.
Where I feel where not fear, but it's going to happen to him because he's a rookie. He's got a lot to learn at the NFL level. With Kalen Carson, he's going to be susceptible to the double move, right? That's coming, right? Where all of it, because remember, last game we credited him with being able to almost have 3 interceptions, right?
Yeah.
And when that double move comes, if that safety ain't helping him back there, he's gonna get hit. That's coming, right? You're gonna give up a play or two, but it's how you fix that issue. The Saints, I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, we're gonna." This is, the Cowboys are going to win by such and such scores, man. The Saints have played the Cowboys extremely well over the last 10 meetings. This is a team that, like the Green Bay Packers, for some reason, no matter how injured they are, when the Cowboys are on the other side, you're going to get their best punch. I was at that Saints game a few years ago in New Orleans, where
2018.
Yes, where
Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith went off.
But Taysom Hill was the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
I was at that game, and the vibe on Bourbon Street was Cowboys got it. That's the game that Coach Quinn was the interim coach because McCarthy was out with COVID. And
about 2020.
And it was tough, man. It was a tough game, And when you look at the Saints personnel at the receiver position, they got a first rounder, Chris Olave. That kid can play. That kid can play. On the other side, you mentioned Shaheed, absolute burner, right? This guy, he can run, right? You're talking about 4.3, 4.4 speed on the field. And then you're looking at the running backs. I mean, Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams, 2 veterans that know how to get it done at the NFL level. Jamal Williams coming off of a season a few years ago where he had 16 to 18 touchdowns with Detroit. You're going to get him in the short game, right? Like Zeke. He's going to get those 3-4 yards, right? If it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 2, he's coming out there and he's putting his head down. And then Alvin Kamara, like you said, they like to use him in the outside, but Alvin Kamara will also get you in the screen game. Like that's what he does. Yeah. And then Derek Carr, Jesse Holley earlier on one of his shows, Hanging with the Boys, he said, and he gave the perfect analogy. He said, Derek Carr is a Mendoza line quarterback, right? If you had somebody better than him, you would replace him with that person. But he's a guy that'll keep you there, right? He's going to have really good games, and then he's going to have games where you're like, what the heck is he doing? And that's Derek Carr. But look at the last time he played the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day, right? The famous Anthony Brown pass interference game. So I'm not sleeping on the Saints offensively. I know they put 40 up against the Panthers, but I'm also careful with this is a team stacked with veterans. Their offensive line, they rebuilt that thing. They have 3 first-round picks up front, right? You mentioned Fuaga is on the injury report, but they also drafted Eric McCoy. Trevor Penning at the right tackle, right? First-round pick. Cesar Ruiz, who was their center, first-round pick from Penn State, they moved him over to guard, and then Fuaga. So this is a team that you cannot sleep on offensively.
This is a team that I don't really want. I wouldn't really want Micah rushing from the gaps, from the A gap. I wouldn't rather have him the edge this game. But let's see. Zimmer says that he's got a game plan for him to get less chips. It's hard to get chipped when you're rushing from the A gap.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So. Is like I don't have the all 22 film, but I was watching a little bit of the highlights of their past game against the Panthers, and you'll see a lot of what you're talking about. See Kamara right there in the little screen game. There you go. See, that's the problem. That was a problem for us last year. Last year when we played, who was it? Seattle. Seattle, man, kills with that screen game. There you go. Derek Carr going deep, and who's that right there? Yep. That's the problem. That's where, and what coverage are they in? Let's see. Let me go back. They are in, is that a cover 1? Yeah. Nah, see, that's the thing. He's got burners, bro. So that's going to be up.
That was Shaheed right there. So, the thing is with Coach Zimmer is that he's so good at game planning, but also in-game, making the in-game changes, right? Which is something that I think that we've missed is making the adjustments in the game, right? If the Saints burn you on the play action, right, it's going to happen. They hit 1 or 2 plays, right? Make the adjustment in-game so that they can't get that anymore. And I think Coach Zimmer is such a good defensive coordinator and better than what we've had, that's going to be a plus for us. This offense is complex, man, because it's coming from San Francisco, right? If we had trouble against San Francisco and what they did, this coach was over there. He has the blueprint as to how to beat the Cowboys,
Yeah. And this game, you expect a lot of play action, man. A lot of play action. They're probably going to set the tone early with the run, and they're going to try to set up these deep balls with the play action. They're going to think we're going to be stacking the box, and they're going to run these play action plays. Hopefully it doesn't kill us. This is the fun part about having a new DC, a competent DC, and having a defense show up the way that it did show up in week 1. Now, granted, we could either debate about should Deshaun Watson playing like booty, or we can debate that our defense was really nice when it comes to coverage and all that, because it wasn't just the tackles. I know we had 40 pressures. We led the league with 40 pressures last week. But yeah, man, this this week is gonna tell us a lot about who we are as Dallas Cowboys. It's gonna tell us that we really. Let me ask you a question, Steve.
Yeah. Who are you looking forward to in this game? Like on the Cowboys defensive side, like what player are you looking forward to watching against the Saints this week? I know last week I wanted to see what our interior defense looked like, right? Like what level of our defense, or who in particular are you looking forward to watching in this game against the Saints?
DeMar Overshown, and I'll tell you why. Because a lot of these screen passes, a lot of these, they're gonna do a lot of jet sweeps. You're gonna see a lot of Olavi getting some jet sweeps. Not Olavi, Shaheed. I want to see how we close these outside. I want to see our linebackers run sideline to sideline. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Maris this game. Maris showed some stuff last game. He didn't get a lot of playing time, but when he was out there, he showed a lot of quickness. I saw him blitz from the gaps, and then on special teams, of course, he looked really good. But every week's gonna be different, I think. Well, like I said, two things is I want to see our linebackers. Are we really, how we really past the PTSD of not having linebackers from last year, or was it just a fluke? That's what I want to see. But
Gotcha.
like I know our corner. I trust Al Harris, man. Al Harris gonna have these boys dialed in. My linebacker group is what I'm more interested in seeing, because I know what our front four can do. I know what Micah can do. I know what Demarcus Lawrence can do. Also having Linval Joseph, Jordan Phillips, and Mozzie. Mozzie didn't have a bad game last against Cleveland. I didn't see him get pushed around, and I saw Jordan Phillips lay the wood on Deshaun
Man.
Watson. I thought he killed that
Woo.
man, bro. He hit that boy hard. Yeah. So
Man.
linebacker group is what I'm really looking forward to seeing this game, because of the different scheme. So I'll see if we can bring what we did last week, bring it over to this week. That's what I'm looking forward to, because in this video here, let's see, what are they doing here? All right, Carr's got a lot of time to throw the ball. I don't think you have that kind of time against Dallas, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. I'm gonna have these. All right, so they got a field goal there. But yeah, man, what are you looking forward to? See, look at that. There you go. There's that jet sweep. There's that emotion. Yeah. Okay. That's what I want to see. What does our team do when the guys are in motion? What does our team do to counter that? Do we foul for the bait? Do we show that we're in man? What do we do? That's what I want to see from our linebacker core.
I want to see our front four this week. The reason being is because if you watch what these Saints are doing up front right here with their 5 linemen, this is a different offensive line that you faced with the Bears last week, right? Look at them getting on their blocks, okay, yeah. and staying on their blocks and shoving guys down to the ground. This is a bit more physical team up front that you played with the Saints. Okay.
Let's go back.
Yeah, go ahead.
Also, did you see this? You see, you got Kamara back here. He's gonna shift over here. See, I hadn't seen that before.
And guess who does that? Guess what team does that? San Francisco 49ers. Right? That's a San Francisco 49er play. If you watch when they line up Debo back there, they'll line Debo up and McCaffrey back there, right? In the backfield, and they're always trying to target the middle of the field, right? Do the delay with the running back going out, and trying to find that soft spot in the middle of the field. So up front with that, you can't miss tackles, because these guys are hard to tackle. That's one thing we don't realize about the Saints, and we don't talk about. I haven't heard anybody mention much. You've never seen Alvin Kamara get tackled clean, right? Like he's a slippery guy. Taysom Hill is like a tank, right? He doesn't get tackled clean either. And then Jamal Williams is a back that's 230 pounds. He's trying to run through you into the end zone. So our front four, they're going to have to hold their ground, because I think the Saints are going to try to run the ball against us and pick their spots to throw the ball, as opposed to when we played Cleveland. Cleveland was behind, right? That's why we lead in pressures, because Cleveland is playing from behind all day, so they have to drop back and pass. I think the Saints are going to try to keep it close by keeping their offense on the field with the running game.
So this is right here is what I was talking about. You see, on the outside teams, they love to run. I saw a lot of that last week as this thing uploads. Got my Wi-Fi from Wish. But yeah, as it uploads, come on, man. Don't do this to me now. But yeah, they do a lot of this. All right, so there's Fuaga there, and I'm guessing he's gonna pull out over here and run through this gap right here, the D gap. And you're gonna see a lot of that, man. You're gonna see a lot of this game. They do play physical football too. They play a physical game of football. And I want to see how our tackling is gonna be. So my thing, I'm big on the linebackers, man. I want to see what our linebackers do. Linebackers matter. I see it though. I gotta do this shit. Man, this thing's bugging out. What's going on, man? This thing's bugging out. You can't be bugging out like that.
Hey man, while this thing loads up for you, man, I want to give a few shout outs if that's okay with you, Steve.
Hell yeah,
Um,
you do it, bro. Go ahead.
I want to give a shout out, man, to my guy Drew Fisher, man. You can follow him on Drew Fisher, Dallas Cowboys on Twitter, man. This guy, man, he's a season ticket holder with the Cowboys from Jersey, man. So how sick is that, right? Like he lives in Jersey and he's out there for every home game. We'll actually be in Dallas this weekend for the Saints game. Lucky enough to link up with him last year. Such a great guy, man. Great family. He called me up in the spring. He said, "G, schedule came out. You trying to go to the Saints game?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm trying to go to the Saints game." Shout out to Drew. Me and him always chopping it up on the phone and on Twitter about the Cowboys. Also,
Yeah.
Mike from Dallas as well, man. He's very honest with his opinion about the Cowboys. So shout out to those two fellas and the rest of Cowboy Nation out there that's watching us, man. And thank you for supporting my brother.
No, man. And you know what? I'm gonna hit down the street. So you hit me up when you're here, and we'll link up, man. We'll link up. I got my wife's here right now, but I mean they don't take long. It don't take longer than 2 hours to chop it up. You know what I mean? While you're here, you can't miss the opportunity, man. So
Absolutely, brother.
there you go. That's that outside. That outside. I love to run to the outside. That's why I want to see our linebackers close and make these tackles. That's what I'm looking forward to. There you go. Play action. Yeah. Yeah, man. So
We're gonna have to cover, man. We're gonna have to cover and be disciplined.
Yep. We get it. You know, we know what they're gonna come with. You know, we know they're gonna set the tone. They're gonna want to set the tone real quick with us. We just gotta be the more physical team, man. You saw San Francisco come out there and just, all right, we don't got Christian McCaffrey. We're just gonna beat you, and you're not gonna be able to do nothing about it. I saw all of them, bro. Receivers was out there making blocks. Kittle out there making blocks.
You know what we also have to do, man? I'm gonna be in the building, man. Cowboy Nation, man. If you're gonna be in AT&T, wake the hell up, right? Like it's too quiet in there while we're on defense. This is our time to get up and give our team some juice, man, especially when they're on defense. And we don't do that enough in AT&T. I go to AT&T once a year. I try to get out there, and it's just too quiet in there. I don't know if it's the artwork that Mrs. Jones put up, but we need some kind of noise when we're on defense because it's quiet in there. And our defense, the game is played on the field, but when you go everywhere else, right? I've been to Baltimore. I've been to obviously MetLife. I've been to LA. You know, when you go to certain stadiums and their team needs them, the fans tend to rise up. This weekend is going to be our first chance to turn the narrative on that. Let's wake the hell up in AT&T and give our team something for once. You've been there, so I know that you know what I'm talking about, right? Jay Tuck, he always talks about, he always puts content out about how quiet Cowboys Stadium is, and he shows videos, and he can find it in the All-22, zoom in on himself, and he's the only one standing up, and everybody else in his section is sitting down.
Yeah, that's a whole different topic, man. It's a lot of the season ticket owners for the Cowboys are corporate owned season tickets. So, you know, a lot of these guys, they bring customers in, they take them out to a football game. They're not fans. They just there, you know what I mean? They cheering, but it's not diehard. It ain't like Arrowhead. It ain't like Philadelphia. It ain't like San Francisco. It ain't like these are home advantage. Lambeau Field, you know, where you got to get in line to get season tickets. You got to get in. There's like a 7-year wait time, something like that. So that's the problem, man. It's such a big venue, and you got that big ass jumbotron right in the middle. So people just watching people could be doing that at home, just be watching the game, just looking up.
Yeah.
The games that were down there, and they looking up like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I remember I went to one game and this lady behind me is like, "Sir, can you sit down, please?" And I saw I didn't care. She was with her husband. I never called the woman a bitch, but I was pissed off, and I was like, "Bitch, you're at a fucking football game. What the fuck you mean?" I was livid, bro. I was livid. And her husband wanted if her husband wanted that work, then I would have given him his work that work. But I was
Man.
tight because I was like, "How are you gonna you at a
We
football game, bro?"
we must have
It's
been
like
losing.
it's like 3rd and 7. Nah, not even that. It was a tight game. It was like 3rd and 7, and you over tell me to sit down? Get the fuck out of
Yeah,
here, you know?
yeah.
Hey, it's after hours, so you're gonna get a lot of the attitude era. All right, after hours, after 9 o'clock, attitude comes out with the profanity. So I apologize ahead of time. Uh,
It's over.
but yeah,
This is your
man.
platform, brother. This is your platform.
Yeah, but yeah, man. Yeah, no, yo, G's right. G's right. G's saying if you're gonna go to this game on Sunday, yes, better not be sitting down because G's gonna tell you to get the fuck up. You feel me? So I
Man,
don't want
listen.
none of that shit.
Listen. I'm gonna be up. I go to Philly. I go to Philly with my shit on. Right. I got
Mm,
one rule when I go to Philly. If my lady's with me, I tell the people in my area right here. All that shit talking you pointed to me, right? You gonna talk, just leave her out of it, right? And they tend to respect, man. I've been to Lambeau Field. Lambeau is just when you sit down in Lambeau, it's just like wow, I'm in Lambeau, right? I went in
yeah.
2014 when we got our ass kicked, man. We had Matt Castle playing quarterback, and it was just oh my god, it was devastating being in there, man. But let's get into this. Let's get into this offense because I want to know what your thoughts are on our Cowboys offense against their defense.
So yeah, so it looks like Tyler Guyton's gonna match up with Chase Young, because Cam Jordan he's on the weak side edge or left end, as you depending however you call it. So and he ain't no Miles Garrett, but he's still a formidable pass rusher, you know. So we're gonna see this kid get tested and continue to grow. I did see a lot of good things from Todd. I'm going based off of rookies, but from Cooper Beebe, I saw Cooper Beebe. I saw Dak do a QB sneak, bro, on Sunday. Hey, tell me why he didn't. There was no help from nobody else. It's just Cooper Beebe just mauled doors in front of him. Dak went like 3 yards, bro. It's crazy.
Wow,
They ain't no
wow,
tush push. So I mean, you know, I think Cooper Beebe allowed 0 pressures, which is, bro, this is nice. That Cleveland front is elite. That's an elite front right there. You know, he saw Zach Martin get pushed around that first play and nearly killed Dak Prescott on that first series.
yeah,
So I mean, they got an
yeah.
elite front, and our rookies held their own. You know, there's a lot of chips. Mike McCarthy called an excellent game. You know, quick passes, quick passes. Don't not let Miles Garrett wreck the game. Now there was times where he almost
Mhm,
did. You know, with the strip, he had a sack or a strip that a fumble. We recovered the ball,
mhm.
but Tyler Guy, you know, held his own. What I do want to see this game is, like I said, and I think everybody wants to see us our running game. Now we don't have Jake Ferguson. I'm gonna go with the his probability of playing is probably like a 70-30. I wouldn't
Mhm.
play him.
Yeah,
I like Tyler Lipke to be the tight end 2 or tight end 1. Who knows? My
mhm.
McCarthy loves Tyler Lipke, bro. They love him there, you know. And
Yeah.
then maybe call up Dalvin Cook this game. We'll see. I heard he's having really
I
good
tell you
practice
who
sessions.
else, man. What about Ryan Flournoy?
Man, I was telling you, I was down bad when I saw he was inactive last game. I was
Yeah,
hurt. I was hurt because
yeah.
I see this kid live practice, bro. They
We
don't
can
drop no
see it.
ball.
We can see
He got
it. Like you could tell he got it. He just gotta play. You could tell any Cowboy fan that watched the preseason game that he was out there, you're like, yes, like he's a gamer, right? Because there's guys that practice well. We've had a lot of those, right? That are practice heroes. But when you watched Ryan Flower, I don't care who he's playing against. I don't care, right? You saw Victor Cruz in preseason game 10, 15 years ago going up against twos and threes, and look at how his career turned out, right? But you
yeah.
could tell that Flournoy, like This is a football player. He's got the body, he's got the speed, and I'm like, wait a minute, he's not up in this game.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to him. I think he'll be out there this week.
So I'm thinking they're gonna call up Dalvin Cook, and I'm hoping they call up Ryan Flournoy. Ryan Flournoy's got to get through all the draft politics, right? Because he's got Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, who's there last year. You know, Tolbert is considered a wide receiver, but Turp is considered a wide receiver. He's more of a return specialist, and then Deuce Vaughn, who's a running back, but he can play in the slot. So I don't know, man. It's the draft politics. What I like about Ryan Flournoy, and y'all can call me crazy. I'd rather have Ryan Flournoy. Well, you know what? It's not fair because I got to see him out there first. After I see him out there, I can make this comparison. But he's a physical receiver. He's strong. He's about 200 pounds. You know, pretty compact player. Tolbert is a good route runner. Well, actually, shit, I don't know. That game I saw, he wasn't running. He wasn't getting any separation. I get he's going against dogs at corner, but he wasn't getting much separation. Yeah. He's not strong to hold blocks. You know, he got that first penalty, and he's not a deep threat. So he's got one thing he does have is really good continuity with Dak Prescott, and he had a really good preseason, good practice. So it's got to get past all that, and at some point we're gonna have Flournoy season. I drafted Flournoy in my fantasy, bro. That's how high I was.
Oh my god! You ain't drafted in fantasy.
Yo estoy loco, bro. I'm crazy. Yeah. I'm crazy because I felt it. I was like, yo, in my heart, mi corazón, like, nah, he's. I feel it, bro. I feel it. He's a dog. I want him. Hey, Ryan, shout out to you, Ryan. I need you out there, bro. We need you out there. I need you to do whatever you got to do to get on that fucking field, bro. I need you to fucking levitate. Yeah. Do something. But nah,
so
man.
Going back, man, to go ahead, Steve.
You're good. So what I was gonna say is, of course, set the tone by running the ball. If Jake's not out there, it's gonna be very interesting because Jake is a target, bro. He's a safety blanket for Dak. And I don't trust Schoolmaker. I don't trust Schoolmaker, so in that aspect, I'm a little down on my offense. I want to see my offense pick it up. I don't want Dak to be having to throw the ball 40 times. I want us to run the ball, end this game early, and call it a night early. I don't want to be halftime, 7-7 or 10-10 or 10-7, and I want this game to be, out of the way by the second quarter, and I have to worry about, just get past this game. And the only way you can get past this game and not have to rely on your quarterback do too much is if you run the damn ball. So, what about you, man? So what you got?
My analysis is that the Saints are sound on defense at all three levels. Okay.
Yep.
What I mean is that they got firepower at all three levels, that they got guys that do their damn job and they do it really well. Okay. We know what you're going to get from Cam Jordan. That's their DeMarcus Lawrence. Consistency. Very good on the run game. Can get the quarterback 9 to 10 times a season. You mentioned Chase Young, but Chase Young is not actually starting for them. They got Carl Granderson, right? And a lot of people don't know who Carl Granderson is because he fits their defense so well. He's a guy that he just does his job. Carl Granderson in his career has 23 sacks. Last year he had 8.5 sacks. The year before that, 5.5 sacks. So he's a guy that can get to the quarterback, right? 5 years in the league. This is his 6th year, 23 sacks. But he's a dog up front. And in their second level, they have, we were talking earlier, Cowboys defense, and you were talking about linebackers. They have, to me, one of my favorite linebackers to watch in the NFL because he's so good at what he does, Demario Davis. This guy makes the tackles. He fills and plugs the hole. He knows where the ball is going, and he never gets off of the field, right? They went out and they said, let's sign Willie Gay. Where does Willie Gay come from? Willie Gay is the former Chief, right? So now Willie Gay is their Sam linebacker. Pete Werner is the weak side linebacker, right? Their linebacking core is solid, man. You know, when you got Willie Gay and Demario Davis on the field, they might give up a little bit in the pass game, which I think is something that Dak has to recognize when he has Willie Gay and Demario Davis playing linebacker, to see where his mismatches are, right? And say, okay, let me audible out to something. And then when you go into the secondary, they're a little bit banged up right now with Marshawn Lattimore, hamstring issue, right? If Lattimore is out there, we know he has a hamstring issue. Attack his ass. This is a guy that's been all pro bowler, but the hamstrings is something that is not easy to deal with when you're at those skill positions, especially corner, right? Go after him right away. See where he's at. And then they got the savvy vet, the honey badger, right? Tyrann Mathieu at safety, who he knows where he's supposed to be all of the time. For me, this is my opinion. The offense is going to take 4 weeks before it's fully running on all cylinder. I think the offense, it'll be until week 4, until they come to MetLife for Thursday night football before they're going, because you just got CeeDee Lamb back a few weeks ago, right? And then you got to figure out what you have at the running back position. And Dak is seeing live game action for the first time. So I think it'll take the offense 4 weeks. But I think the Schoonmaker's your starting tight end, obviously, this week. They have to throw him out there because you have, Brevin Spanform behind them. And I don't know if you necessarily want to go that route.
Yeah, and you got John Stevens also, I think, who's a scratch for this game. The only pushback I got on Demario Davis is his age, man. I saw him a little bit of highlights from this past game. He didn't look like he was very quick. He didn't look like he had a lot of burst. So, I mean, that's the only thing I can really say is, is he still gonna be able to play at that that caliber, or at that level? They did draft Jaylan Ford, who I'm as a Texas fan. I'm a Texas and Penn State guy, but I love Texas. Jaylan Ford is a solid ass linebacker, man. I know he's a rookie, but he's solid. They got Willie Gay. Let's see, Carl Granderson out of Wyoming. So they got some solid players.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. The Saints defense isn't what you're playing in the Browns, right? The Browns were the number 1 defense last year. Well, the problem with the Browns last week is that their offense was so inept. That they were never in the game from the beginning. They're playing behind, right? And the Cowboys did a great job up front of scheming it up, helping each other out. The rookies went out there and played a game against, in my opinion, an elite defensive line, right? You got the elite defensive player, Myles Garrett. On the other side is Darius Smith. In the middle, they have
OKR, what was his name? The linebacker.
No, the big boy,
the D tackle. The one that
Dalvin Tomlinson.
Zach Martin. Dalvin Tomlinson, he threw Zach Martin out of the way like a little kid.
So you play an elite defensive line like that, and you hold your own, right? So let's see how it transitions into week 2, right? I want to see them establish the run more. In my opinion, me personally, I just don't get what Deuce Vaughn's role is with the team. Okay. I root for the guy because of the story, and I want to see him play, but I don't think Coach McCarthy has a role for him or a fit for him in this team, in this offense, right? You go back and you get Zeke. Rico is supposed to be the guy that's getting the bulk of the carries this year, from everything you hear. And then you go sign Dalvin Cook, right? So it's kind of like what Coach Zimmer did on defense, where during the preseason he was looking at his defense and saying, he ain't working. He ain't working. I gotta call Jordan Phillips. I gotta go get what you call it, Lawson. I gotta go and get what's the other big boy we got besides Phillips?
Linval Joseph.
Linval Joseph, right? So he saw that and he said, I need guys that are gonna go out there and know what they're doing that I can trust. And I think that that's what happened with Dalvin Cook, right? Because you already had Deuce Vaughn on the roster. You're giving him opportunities throughout training camp. I just personally don't know what his role is on the team, on the offense especially.
I mean, the only thing I could see is like, because not even that, because Pollard was like the scat back, right? The Ferrari, and Zeke was the bell cow. But I don't see. I mean, Pollard can break tackles. You know, what Vaughn can do is he could not get missed tackles because he's so elusive, but he can't break a tackle. He's too small. We'll see, man. I know it's a little bit of an experiment. Maybe we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Maybe he's got connections too. So it comes to a lot of the politics.
That's a hard cut.
That's a hard cut, man, because that's your director of scout son. Fucking Jerry. Jerry want to make it.
I've been, I know that this is another episode as we get closer to the trade deadline, but I've said on Twitter, and you've seen me say it a bunch of times. I said the guy that the Cowboys need to go get is James Conner. I think James Conner fits the Cowboys offense so well. You can hand the ball off to him, and he's such a good running back out of the backfield in the pass game. He can block as well, right? Fresher legs than what you have in Zeke and in Dalvin Cook. And you saw what he did last year. This is a good running back that I think everything that you're looking for in between the tackles, on the edges, I think that he fits the team so well, man. But that's another episode, man. Hopefully I'm back on,
Yeah. Even receiving, he's a good receiving running back as well. But hey, who knows, man? The Arizona goes down bad. And trade deadline. When's trade deadline? October something. October. What's the trade deadline?
November. Yeah.
All right, so November. Let's go with the hypotheticals here. They have a really bad season. They don't have a reason to keep. They got Trey Benson right there in the back, right? They got Trey Benson.
Yeah.
So we got
and they got DJ Dallas.
Exactly. And we got comp picks in this next draft. We can't have we have like 14 draft picks, bro. Like we can't have no reason to draft 14 players. So let's.
But you just also got all that money with the restructure. You signed Dak, so you got more money, right? And you just restructured Terrence Steele. Put that money. I'm the kind of fan that I watch. I go, listen. I see what we have, but it's go time. You know who realized it was go time, Steve? You realize the 49ers realized it was go time a few years ago when they said, you know what? We're going to go get Christian McCaffrey because the rest of our team got it, but we're missing the guy, right? They went and they got Christian McCaffrey. I think it's paid off, right? A few years ago, the LA Rams, right? They went all in, right? And they said, we have to. Because we have the structure, we got the team, but we got to go get Matt Stafford and we got to go get Odell Beckham. Sure, it hurt them in terms of draft picks, but they made it to the Super Bowl, right? And they haven't missed since. Yeah. See what I'm saying? Like this year, they drafted Jared Verse in the first round because it was their first round pick in a few years. But they relied on their scouts to go find Puka Nacua in the fourth or fifth round. Right? So the way I look at it is if you have the guys and you know that you're missing something, go get it. Because at what point are you going to say enough is enough? I need to get over the hurdle.
Yeah. Hopefully this is the year, man. Hopefully we do. I really do believe that we are gonna address something at the draft. That's my personal belief because we'll see. Let's see how. We'll see. We'll find out. Hey man, you got Dalvin Cook. We
Find out.
got to use him somehow. We got to throw him out there. Throw him out there. We
Let 'em
find out.
go.
We got. I think our O line is a little underrated, man.
Yeah.
I think our O line people are sleeping on it because we got 2 rookies, but I think that we still got Tyler Smith and we still got Zach Martin out there. So and Cooper Beebe, I think it's gonna be. It could be an I wouldn't say all pro already, but man, if you keep leading the league in zero pressures, you might be up there, right? With the all pros up there, or the Pro Bowls. So, man, we'll see. I think they'll call him up this week, though, to be honest, because I've been hearing a lot of good reports from him out of practice, and he's been doing really well. And that what's his name? Rico Dowdle has been helping them as far as with the offense and all that. So it's good to see good team continuity, man. Hopefully continue to build up. Hopefully that our team in the past learned from the past. A lot of these guys, a lot of these players have been here since the 2021 meltdown, right? When we played San Francisco, we went to go lose again. We got demolished last year. So hopefully these guys have learned already from all that. They're not new players. A lot of them have been there. And hopefully Mike Zimmer brings, that tenacity, that dog, and brings the dog out of all of them. Zach, that got paid, so that's out of the way. Hopefully we can get Mike McCarthy situated at some point, and maybe even Mike Zimmer too. Who knows, man? But I'm liking so far what we got. I'm excited, man. I'm excited you're gonna be in town, and we're gonna definitely have to link up, man. We have to link up, do some. And appreciate. We have 85 viewers today, so appreciate everybody who liked. Everybody who tuned in, everybody who's liking and reposting. I appreciate all of y'all, man. I love the community. The Dallas Cowboy community is like no other in the world, bro. In college football and American football, it's like no other in the world. We travel well. We take over stadiums. We just got to bring that same energy to AT&T.
Right. That's
Des
right.
Bryant, Des Bryant, let the tailgates come back to the parking lots. We don't got to go to Texas Live. Come on, man. Don't do that. You ruin it for us. But nah, man, for real. I'm excited. We should all be excited. I know you excited. You flying in from Jersey. You feel me?
Yeah.
Man,
I mean, Cowboy Nation, just I know where we at mentally, right? Dak and the Cowboys have to win in the playoffs this year. Right? Yeah. We have to advance. This is it, guys. Like the structure is there. You have elite guys on defense. You have elite guys on offense. As a Cowboy fan, I'm not waiting for anything else. We've been 13 wins, right? The last 3 years. Okay.
12 wins.
Right. 12. What else? What else, guys? Right. So we've been there. We've been the number 1 seed. You can win in the regular season. Like now we got to get it done in the postseason. And I think that's the consensus for Cowboys fan. I think that's why this year we're more on a wait and see as opposed to, we're going to go out and demolish everybody. No, we've done this before. I think that's what needs to be the mentality in the locker room is we got to build. We got to get better, like you said. And then when we get to the postseason, because as fans, we can look ahead a little bit, right? Because we're fans. We're not playing this weekend. Is whoever we line up against in the playoffs, we have to win football games, and that's where it matters. I think that's where McCarthy's job is on the line. I don't think Jerry's going to extend them during the regular season because there's coaches out there, right? There's coaches out there that I think Jerry has on a dry erase board somewhere, and he's saying this guy's available and this guy's available. If we don't advance to the NFC Championship game this year, I'm giving these guys a call, right? You got Al Harris. You got Mike Zimmer. Let me ask you a question. I know we like time-wise, right? But Mike Zimmer came in, and over the last 3 weeks of training camp, the Cowboys brought in 4 defensive guys like the last 3 weeks of training camp.
Andrew Booth, Linval Joseph, Jordan Phillips, and Carl Lawson,
Al-Qadim Muhammad. Don't forget Muhammad, right? The defensive end that they cut.
Eric Kendricks.
I think he flashed.
Eric Kendricks,
So,
6.
but in preseason, I'm talking about,
Oh, yeah.
right? The last 3 weeks. What coach have you seen on the Cowboys, especially the coordinator, say, I need to bring this guy in, this guy in, this guy in, and Jerry say, all right, you got it. Have you seen that before? You
Yeah, but
haven't.
you
We
know,
haven't seen
yeah,
it.
but Mike Zim got a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys. He was part of that Barry
That's what I'm
Switzer
saying.
coaching staff. He was a DB coach.
And we forgot one.
Bill
You
Parcells
don't
too,
think
I believe.
no, but you don't think Coach Zimmer signed off on Dalvin Cook on the other side
Hell
of
yeah.
the ball?
Hey, he's the one that brought him.
Hello.
Dalvin Cook said that Mike Zimmer texted him, called him, said, come with us. And that Dalvin was supposed to go to Indianapolis the next day, and he didn't go. He just signed with Dallas. So
that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I think Jerry Jones is saying, I need to see something else in the playoffs this year. Yeah. Signed. Go ahead.
Not to go too far, because hey man, playoffs is next year, right? So what I saw and what I heard, I don't know if you caught this when Jerry Jones was doing an interview talking about Dak Prescott and the contract. He says, I want Dak to be my quarterback until my remaining years. So what does that mean? I'm gonna have to go all in with my quarterback now. Whatever I got, this is what I got. I
got a different opinion on that though. Listen,
go ahead.
I don't want guys to hit me over the head, but I like to look at things from all angles, right? Here are several factors into the Dak signing. Look how long it took, one, right? Of course, Dak needed to figure out what number he wanted and all that other stuff. Dak was in the driver's seat, right? On this whole contract thing. Let's not get that mistaken, right? What are the alternatives if you don't sign Dak when we signed them last week, right? Meaning, who are the free agents that the Cowboys have to look forward to next year? The number one free agents next year, you're looking at Sam Darnold, right? Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, right? And then you got Dak, would have automatically been number one, right? But those are the guys behind Dak, okay? Yeah. And then this question hit my head earlier today as I'm driving to work. I said, I wonder if somebody else would have been a free agent next year that is of that caliber. Josh Allen, I'm just throwing names out there, right? Josh Allen or Aaron Rodgers 2 years ago before signing with the Jets, right? If those guys are free agents going into next offseason, what is the narrative that we're looking at then? And I say, man, like those are things you got to consider. Of course, Jerry had to get the deal done. There's no alternatives. Dak is a good quarterback. Listen, he's been good for the Cowboys, but you have to admit we haven't won with him, right? We can win in the regular season, but we haven't advanced with him.
But I always say this, man: you don't win until you do. That's all I can say, bro. Because
only one team wins every year, right?
Only one team wins every year, and you know what? John Elway took I don't know how many years to go back to back. Peyton Manning was in the 9th season, and he went back to he didn't go back to back, but he went to Super Bowl and won a ring. So it's not uncommon. Drew Brees, same scenario. 9 seasons in, he wins his first ring. So yeah. While we haven't had success, you don't have success until you have success. And that's all it is, bro. Is that you're not there until you're there. I know it sounds cliche, but it's the truth. You're not there until you're there. You're not a champion until you are one. So that is what it is, And this is a week by week basis. We got the Saints coming up. The playoffs and the past and this season is all gonna pan out at its own. But we got to look at what's in front of us, and we got New Orleans, a formidable opponent. And before we close this off, man, I just want to ask you what your predictions are for this game. What's your score, your prediction scores?
Ooh, man, this is going to be a grinder. This is going to be a fourth quarter where they might be ahead in the fourth quarter at some point, or it might be a 3-4 point game in the fourth quarter. But I do have the Dallas Cowboys winning 24-17. to 20. I know a lot of us don't like to hear that, but we just went over all the matchups. I think that our offense is going to take a little bit for them to get going, but I think that the way that the Saints have played the Cowboys over the last, few years, I think they just match up well with us for some reason. And also, the Saints fans are going to be inside AT&T. It's right there, right? The Saints fans in Dallas because they moved to Dallas after Katrina, right? So you know that you're there, right? So AT&T Stadium is going to be Saints friendly, and I just think that it's going to be a little bit closer than what we like. But I do have the Cowboys winning.
That's a fair score. I mean, that's a Vegas bet. That's a Vegas. You're taking the under then. So we're 6.5 favorites.
Yeah,
so.
I think, man. Yeah, I just don't see, how 6 points, and they just put 40 up, right? 40 is not easy to put up in the NFL. I don't care who you play. The other team is NFL guys too, right? And then the firepower that they have.
Yeah. No,
what you got,
right,
man? Let me know what you got, brother.
Well, if I was a betting man, I would say give me 27-17 would be the score. Dallas wins.
I like that.
Or 26.
I like that as well. I like
26-17, something like that. That's what that's how I see it. Like I said, hey man, respect to all the Saints fans, respect to all them, man, and Who Dat Nation. But you come into AT&T and Dallas, if we can kind of, we know what happened last year. We played at home. The last home game we had wasn't too good, so I think we're gonna go out there and show a different product. So excited for it, man. And as soon as you get here to Texas, you hit your boy up. We'll link up, man.
I got you. Yes, sir.
I appreciate it,
man. Listen,
I appreciate
Dallas Cowboy Nation, man. Hit me up on Twitter, man. G from Jersey. All right. Formula_G201. G from Jersey. You'll find me on Twitter, man. Hopefully, I'm back on with my brother Steve. Okay. Yeah. We can make some good content for you guys. If you enjoyed, hit the like button. Follow my brother because he's doing one hell of a job, man.
Yeah. And all the people who tuned in today, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. It is 10:23 p.m. and some of y'all are coming in. Some of your wives are giving you the eye to go to bed, and you over here watching us talk football. I appreciate y'all, man. I love all of y'all. Like I said, all my people here on Twitter, on X, my boy G. Appreciate you coming in live with me, man. And we working out a good time. We were very easy to say, hey man, what time you got? I got this time. We both parents. So we got to have a time when the kids are in bed, So I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you being having some leeway with me. Thank you for having him on. Good guest, man. Like I said, I really, really appreciate it. And Cowboys Nation, estamos aquí, estamos activados, estamos activos, estamos ready. We talk some Spanish, talk some English. We ready, baby. You know what I mean? Puerto Rico in the house. You feel me? Yes, sir, baby. Man. So I'm going to, like I said, signing off now. Until next time, Cowboys Nation, Attitude Era Sports. See y'all.
Peace.